Every week, the Daily Videocast will be hosting a roundtable where we will discuss the hottest on-campus and national issues. And this week, we have Sheridan Gray and Gary Stute who are discussing the recent dramas in the ASUW. Last ASUW meeting, a move to vote of confidence on the Senate Chair Hala Dillsi and the Vice Senate Chair Mikhail Smirnov was called to happen next Tuesday.
What happened at the meeting yesterday was we moved for a vote of confidence in the Chair of the Student Senate.
What is your position in the score? What positions have you held?
My sophomore year, I served on the board of directors for the ASUW. Subsequently after that, I started serving as a member of the Services and Activities Fee Committee. I've served on the Affordable Tuition Now Committee, various levels.
So you've had a lot of experience, you're familiar with a lot of the ins and outs of the Senate.
I like to think that, well, let's just say I wrote pretty much all of the bylaws and rules that they operate with.
Do you feel like they were violated last night, or last week?
In order for the quorum rules to be specifically violated, someone needs to call quorum into question. That was never done. So officially the rules were never broken, but I think there was some persuasion that made them not broken.
Okay, and exactly when you say quorum, how many people does that mean need to be there in order for it to be an effective vote?
Quorum means that you need to have enough people in the meeting to continue to do business. And I believe for the Senate you need 52 members to be present.
How many people were there when the student code was passed?
I think it was very clear that there were less than 52 people.
There was 35 people to be exact. And there needs to be 52?
Yes.
And they had a vote and they passed the student conduct code?
Yes.
Is Hala Dillsi, the Senate Chair, is she familiar with the quorum rules as the head of the Senate?
One would assume that Hala would be aware of the rules.
What exactly is the student conduct code for those who have no idea what it is? Never even heard of it.
The student conduct code is currently a code that is applied to all students at the University of Washington while they are on university property. Essentially, it's a contract between students and the university kind of outlining behaviors that the university feels are appropriate for students to abide by.
Exactly what would that be?
If this is passed, things that you would get in trouble for doing on campus, such as public urination, vandalism, murder, things as small as noise violations to as large as rape and murder, you will now not only feel the force and effect of the law, but you'll also feel the effect of the universities.
Who decided to call the Hala Dillsi, call her to be up for dismissal?
I did, actually. I decided to, after numerous incidents that I felt were kind of called into question her ability to be a fair and unbiased chair. And not only were there those incidents, but other members of Senate came to me and expressed their concerns. And
when you say fair and unbiased, as a Senate chair, a chairperson can't have their own biasisms, or what is the rule if you're a Senate head?
Actually, there is a rule specifically talking about the duties and charges of the chair, and one of them is explicitly said to ensure the general fairness of the Senate. And I guess, that can be loosely interpreted to mean a lot of things, but it's explicitly stated that the chair must ensure the general fairness.
You called this, Gary, and can you give us an example of an instance where you felt she was crossing the line?
One of the big ones I noticed was back when we were debating the legislative agenda at the end of last quarter. The chair has the discretion, to give you some background, to call on the people she wants, and to also cut people off when she feels that they're just rehashing old ideas. And I noticed on certain amendments that were being debated, people that were in favor of her, ideology, I guess, so to speak, would be given free rein to talk, and you would have 4 or 5 of them in a row. And if someone who was opposed brought up a similar argument to one that had already been done, they would be cut off almost immediately, and you would move on to the next speaker.
So we have Mikhail Smirnov.
Yes, Mikhail.
So Mikhail he's been called up. Sheridan, do you have a comment on why he, along with Hala, would be both called to this?
I mean, I guess on a personal observation, I felt as if it was more of a reaction to kind of a very intense meeting where right immediately after Hala Dillsi was called into confidence, so was Mikhail. And I feel as if it was kind of just a reaction that was a very natural occurrence right afterwards. I don't know if it was necessarily appropriate or not, but it was very much just instinctive.
What's going to happen next week exactly, Gary?
I will be given 3 minutes to discuss my case with Hala. Hala will give it 3 minutes to defend herself, and then we will immediately move to a roll call vote. And if she gets 50% plus 1 vote of all the votes present, then she'll remain chair.
Okay, so would you say this is kind of looking bad on the ASUW to have the 2 head people called for dismissal at the same meeting at the same time?
I don't think that's necessarily true. I think that it's very good of the ASUW to be thorough, to make sure that what they do and how they operate is legitimately done. I think it would look, nobody would give it a second look if everyone just looked over things, just kind of let things slide by. But by going through this process, it ensures that what the ASUW does is legitimate.
Hala Dillsi was not available for comment when we filmed this session of the Roundtable, but she will be featured in an exclusive interview for Monday's Daily Videocast. Stay tuned. Now it's your turn to decide. What do you think of the proposed Student Conduct Code, and how will next week's controversial ASUW meeting affect you? I'm Chanel Smith, reporting for the Daily Videocast.
One would assume that Hala would be aware of the rules.